Please join us in a call to worship. Rejoice in the Lord, all the earth.
Worship the Lord with gladness.
Remember the Lord is our God.
We are God's flock, and God made us.
The love of the Lord will not fail.
God will be faithful forever.
Glory to the Creator, to the Redeemer, and to the Sustainer, as it was in the beginning, is now, and shall be forever. Amen.
Please join me in an opening prayer. We gather to celebrate and joyfully sing to you, O God. Together, let us share our praises and thankfulness. Let us enter into this sacred space with praise. You, O God, are the holy God, always and forever. You are the eternal one from whom all things come. Let us enter into this sacred space with thanks. God, we are your children, created by and with your love. Let us enter into this sacred space with joy and delight. Amen. Good morning, and welcome to Rosthern Mennonite Church. My name is David Epp, and it is a pleasure to be with you today. For 116 years, RJC High School has gathered to worship as part of its graduation celebrations. This important tradition invites all of us, graduates, parents, friends, and family, to acknowledge God's abundant blessing and steadfast support. Indeed, on this day of celebration, during which we recognize the particular achievement of our graduates, there is much to be thankful for. We also acknowledge that we are gathering as an RJC community on Treaty 6 land and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. This calls us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land that we inhabit as well. We are pleased to be joined by parents and families of the graduating class as we give thanks and celebrate the achievement of this important graduation milestone. We're grateful that RMC has graciously offered to open its doors and create this space for us. We value the prayerful support of our church constituency and are glad to worship here today. The remainder of the service will proceed unannounced. In the bulletin, you'll find photocopies of several hymns, and at this time I'd ask that you please stand as you're able and comfortable and join us in singing, "I Sing the Mighty Power of God."
I will be reading Proverbs verses 3, 1-6. My child, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commandments in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years. I bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on your tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and all people. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean on not your own understanding, but in all ways submit to God, and God will make your path straight.
Faith, to have complete trust or confidence in someone or something. This is the first thing Google tells you when you type faith into the search bar. This is also the last thing that came to mind when I was tasked with writing this faith story. Many people have countless definitions of their own faith. Some believe in a god or gods, some believe in crystals and spirits, some believe in themselves, and I think many believe in others. And that's where my faith lies, in myself and in others. After I agreed to write a faith story, I became very confused. What was I supposed to say when I had no clue about my faith in God? Was I even qualified to write about faith when I never considered myself to be a faithful and religious person? After a few conversations with my mom, dad, and friends, I realized my faith story didn't have to be about me finding God. There was faith in numerous other aspects of my life. Realizing that I have faith in myself was a bit of a shocking discovery. Sometimes I think people take themselves for granted, myself especially. As humans, we forget that we are strong and capable of so many things, and as a teenager living away from home, I think I completely ignored that fact. In the past 3 years, I have faced multiple challenges I never imagined I would go through. While some of those times may have been the hardest things I had gone through at that point in my life, and I thought I would never overcome it, I persevered by having faith in something. Looking back, I question how I made it past those low points and challenges. While I can say it was my friends and my family getting me through, I must give a little or a lot of credit to myself. Believing in myself is not something I am good at, but it is now obvious that I had faith in myself and tons of it. This year, I had to trust people that I had to trust that I would put myself out there after having old friends move on and away. The familiar people that grounded me were no longer directly in my life. I needed to have faith that I could ground myself with new roots. It was hard to see the life I lived for 2 years change. Having to return to a place without certain people by my side really challenged me. It took a while for me to find faith in myself. I spent many nights alone in my room, wishing I could just be brave and knock on a new girl's door. But that was the problem. They were all new and I was scared. But along with having faith in myself, I also put a lot of trust in my parents and my closest friends. Personally, it has been very hard to put faith in people that are not my family. In the past, I've had a lot of friends leave in the blink of an eye, and I've had people let me down. These experiences made me lose trust and assurance that there are people out there that I can put my faith in. Thankfully, at RJC, I found that. But putting trust in others makes you extremely vulnerable, and it's not an easy feat. Even though it is still terrifying to let myself believe in some people, I knew that I needed to. I needed to have faith that the girl at the end of the hall would invite me in when I knocked on her door. I needed to trust that the long-distance friend would keep in touch with me and remember how close we were. With my parents, I needed to trust that they would pick up their end of the phone when I was having a rough night. I'll tell you, it was tough to hold out that trust. But each person proved to me that putting my faith in them was the right thing to do. In the end, my faith story is one that I can look at fondly. It shows my perseverance and ability to overcome some really hard challenges. And I would not be the person I am without this discovery of my faith.
Hi, my name is Faith, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm a third-year student from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. RJC has helped me grow in my faith in many different ways. My experience here has helped me grow on a spiritual level, and has also helped me have faith in myself. Rosthern Junior College has helped me grow in my faith in God spiritually. I grew up in a Christian home. We went to church every Sunday, and I went to youth group, and I distinctly remember volunteering at VBS for several years. And most of my summer memories are from camp. I had a solid foundation on my faith even before coming to RJC, but coming here made me expand on that a lot more than I thought it would. It helped me make my faith my own. I was on the Faith and Life Committee for all 3 years of me being here, so I helped organize a lot of chapels. In the Christian ethics and Bible classes, it allows you to dive deep into the Bible and see how it's all just one story that points to Jesus. In a servant leadership class, I got the chance to stop and reflect on how to be a leader for other people and for God, and not just for myself. Singing in many languages in choir showed me that I can sing for God in a chorus with all of my friends. Speaking of my friends, they never failed to ask me the tough questions about my faith, which allowed me to take some time to personally reflect and answer the question for myself, and not just the answer I thought people wanted me to say. RJC has pushed me to expand my worldview and has given me so many opportunities. Now when I look at my faith, it's multi-layered. It's personalized and shaped by the experience and the relationships I've made over the past 3 years. Learning to have faith in myself was something that I found very difficult. I think most people in the grade 12 class can agree with the fact that I'm a very different person now than I was 3 years ago. I would argue that I've grown for the better. I was definitely more quiet in grade 10 than I am now. What really helped me have faith in myself were the teachers that I had. Every day, without fail, if David saw me in the hallway in the morning, I knew that I was going to get a good morning, Acres. Zach would always think of faith puns in the Faith and Life Committee. Mind you, none of them were original, and I had heard all of them before, but I give him points for trying. Allison, Adam, and Carolee were always there when I needed extra help in math or science, which, believe me, was a lot. And Mika taught me how to write an essay properly. Now, not only can I write one, but I feel like I'm pretty okay at them too. Richard helped open my eyes to all the amazing ways I could use my music, and I know I've grown so much as a musician learning from him. The teachers here push you to excel in the areas you need to grow in, but they never fail to highlight the amazing things and accomplishments you already have. They take what you couldn't see inside of you and push you to use your gifts and abilities to help others. In the past 3 years, I've started writing so much music all the time, and I'm actually sharing these songs with other people now, which is something I never had the confidence to do even a year ago. I'm definitely confident in who I am now, and I can say I have faith in myself and faith in the things that I can do and faith in where I'm going because of the teachers at RJC. The lessons I've learned, I will always remember, and the memories I've made, I'm going to hold on to forever. RJC is definitely an experience I'm never going to forget, to say the least. While I don't know 100% what I'm going to do yet, I know that it's going to be something awesome because I've learned to have faith in myself and faith in my God. Thank you.
The song Rain Down has been a favorite at RJC over the years, and even the few times that we've been able to sing this year, I think we've done it at least once. You can find it inside your programs. You'll find all the songs in there. Please stand, and we will sing all the verses as printed. Rain Down.
Since I have come to RJC, I've changed the way that I look at the world. I've learned that community is one of the biggest needs we all have, but many do not get to experience, and that it really does matter what type of people you surround yourself with. I came to RJC with a couple of close friends and a small worldview. I didn't think that 3 years of my life attending a high school would change it forever. But at RJC, I have found faith not only in God, but I have found faith in community. A community that extends farther than just the students at this school. By attending RJC, I have learned that no matter where any of us end up, there is someone that will love and support us, even if we don't know them, just because of where you chose to go to school. One of the things I found most meaningful to me throughout the past 3 years I've spent here is the time that we spend singing together. Every year, I've joined every choir that I'm able to, and not even because I love to sing, but because of the feeling that doing it together brings. Our school is based on this feeling. I've never felt closer to my classmates, friends, and teachers than the times in which we gathered together to sing. We have sung in times of rejoicing, but we have also sung through tears and in times of uncertainty and heartbreak. When I was in grade 10, I decided to take a step out of my comfort zone and join the after-school choir we called Ensemble. It was a very small group with maybe 13 students. Through this experience, I made many new friends I wouldn't have otherwise made and had countless wonderful experiences. In April of that year, we took a choir tour across Alberta. Of course, traveling as a group is always fun, and I could talk about just the van rides alone. But the part of the trip I know I will remember forever was the very first night of the tour. After driving for over 10 hours through the prairie, we came upon a tiny church on a hill with mountains on the horizon. Anxious to get out of the vans, we all went for a walk before going inside for a potluck supper, which has come to be one of my favorite ways to eat. After that, we were to sing for the congregation that was made up of less than 20 people, and mostly older couples. We sang through our set of songs, but one song that had a different reaction from the crowd. We sang an old German hymn called Librivotter. This had been a simple song and not one we ever thought of as special, until some members of the congregation looked like they might cry. Afterwards, they informed us that this was a song many of them had sung as children and had not heard since. They requested that we sing it again, and we decided not only would we sing it again, but we would sing it with them. We left the stage and each went to sit throughout the pews, sharing lyrics with people we had never met, but somehow already felt like family. This was one of the most beautiful and meaningful songs I've sung while at RJC. At this moment, I felt the support that our school had from that church and those people. Although there weren't many of them, it felt as though every person in the small chapel now had a deeper connection with one another. This is where I find my faith in our school. This year, we've had to do things in a different way, but through watching our virtual choirs, we've been able to include more alumni than ever before, and all of those people you've seen on your screens care about you, they think about you, and they support you. Our community is not only those who we see in the hallways every day. It extends so much farther. This school has helped me to see the love and support I have, not only from my family, not only from my school, but from around the world.
Hi, I am Danielle Choi, a third-year student here at RJC. I am honored today to be able to share my faith story with you. When I was a kid, I was pretty shy, but it was through my mom that I started to develop the other side of my personality. Most of my time spent with my friends was dominated with practicing K-pop dances, singing to perform for my parents and their friends, or directing my friends to create a short movie, or using a wild imagination, or praying God every night to let me fly on a magic carpet from Aladdin. After childhood, my life took a big transition. I was now in middle school and wanted to do good. With the ups and downs of living a life as a typical Korean middle schooler, I pushed through the giant academic expectations and was able to graduate with the acceptance letter of my dream high school. But it wasn't until halfway through the first semester of my first year that I started to develop a feeling of wanting to study in Canada. One of the main reasons being the sheer amount of work that I had to get myself into, but there was something more to it. I was in a rush between my decisions and didn't have any idea of what was going to happen next, but my gut was telling me this is the time to leave. Coming to Saskatchewan was a pretty big transition. People often ask me what is the big difference between living in Korea and here. Definitely the wild and massive nature. Cruising through endless sun-setting skies with friends, lying down on the football field to watch shooting stars with my friends beside, and many others, have gratified my 3 years of being here, in addition to the RJC community. Let RJC be such a tightly knit community, I had a blast to get to know many of the students here. It is still surprising to me, even though it seems at first we have little in common, how we find our ways to connect with others. This RJC space has safely allowed me to explore, to learn about myself and others through many interactions. Also trips, retreats, explore days, and many other little activities that we have engaged ourselves in being a few examples. The emotional bond we have made here at our time together is something I will look back on for a long time in my life. This year, with the blow of COVID-19, was a particularly hard year for me. On top of social restrictions, cancellation of many trips, there was a flood of overwhelming social news that have gotten uncovered in my face. I asked myself, what made our society built on the foundations of inequalities and unjust systems? And why do some people still choose to ignore the issues as if they're not there? Whenever I asked questions, I felt lonely, thinking that I was the only person tripping over them. But it was the support from my friends I have made here at RJC that got me back on my feet. The conversation and emotional support that I have received is something that I am very grateful for. And most importantly, it was the love and support from my family here in Saskatoon that guided me to where I am today. I want to end my story with a few of my favorite Bible verses. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 16 says, "He makes the whole body fit together perfectly. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts grow, so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love." Those individual pieces work together through their own unique skills and abilities to create a bigger, larger, more powerful, completed piece. It's like RJC. The community that we have supports one another through each student's unique background, experience, and skill sets. Together, we become bigger and greater. I am quite nervous and overwhelmed by another transition that I'm taking next year, but I believe with the lessons I have learned and memories I have made through my 3 years at RJC and the strong foundation I was able to build and learn through my family's love and teachings will serve me well as a great stepping stone for the next chapters of my life. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Thank you.
We will be reading 1 Corinthians 12, verses 4 to 11. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work.
Now, to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. To one there is given through the Spirit a message of wisdom, to another a message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gift of healing by the one Spirit, to another miraculous powers, to another prophecy, to another distinguishing between spirits, another speaking in different kinds of tongues, and to still another the interpretation of tongues. All these are the work of one and the same Spirit, and God distributes them to each one, just as God determines.
The grade 12s are about to sing a song for you that was written specifically for a project that the grade 12 class was working on together during our also week, Alternative Learning and Service Opportunities. Faith wrote this as part of the project where they were exploring art to reflect our desire for justice. And so they worked on this through the week. Faith wrote it, and she sang it, and we've learned to sing it together. You can find the text inside your program. So if you kind of look on the inside, the middle, just one page further, you'll see the artwork that the grade 12 class also planned and painted on the wall of our chapel, and the words to the song that the grade 12s are about to sing. This is Bloom.
we will be reading the prayer of thanksgiving and commitment. We will read the leader sections and ask that you respond by reading the bolded parts. O God, we give thanks for this opportunity to hear your word proclaimed and to have its meaning made more real and applicable in our lives.
We rejoice that in the life and teaching of Christ, we have been provided the model, showing how lives can be transformed and take on new meaning.
Help us to see the possibilities of transformation in our lives.
We give thanks that through the transformation you make possible, our lives can take on new dimensions of love, service, meaning, and faithfulness.
Help us not only to see and understand, but to be energized by your calling and an example to realize these possibilities.
For parents and homes, the many friends and teachers who have nurtured us along the journey of growth and maturation, themselves embodying your love and setting an example reflective of life's possibilities.
We celebrate the love of each of these persons and give thanks to them.
For the opportunities afforded by RJC that have made it possible to expand minds, to increase understanding, to nurture empathy and compassion, and to prepare for lives that can make a difference.
We acknowledge these contributions and rejoice in these opportunities.
For the teachers and staff who have demonstrated how lives can be transformed and through their caring and encouragement have helped us capture the vision of life's possibilities and to experience the call to service and witness to life's values.
We lift our voices in appreciation.
On this occasion of new beginnings, we recognize the opportunities that are before us.
We commit ourselves to allow our transformation to be lived out in knowledge, understanding, service, and love. Amen.
Good morning, grads, parents, RJC students, and staff. It's so good to be celebrating this special day together, in person for some of us, with many others able to join virtually. For a long time, we all wondered if any kind of an in-person ceremony would be able to take place, and thankfully, here we are. We have it on good authority that in 2 years, none of you will be able to recall a single word we shared this morning. We shall, nevertheless, endeavor to share some thoughts that might resonate with you at least for a while. The American poet Mary Oliver offers these instructions for living a life, and I would add, for being educated. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. I want to suggest that during your time here at RJC, all of you have been encouraged to pay attention in so many different areas of life. Pay attention to the characters in Macbeth. Notice what a frog looks like when you dissect it. Let your curiosity kick in when you visit the Interpretive Center at Ancient Echoes. Pay attention to why your carefully constructed balloon car isn't actually moving. Notice how the paint colors blend in a painting in art class. Pay attention to how a baby, a toddler, a 4-year-old behave. Really listen to the voices singing beside you, behind you. Take note of what the dancer beside you is doing and move together. And you've been encouraged to focus your attention beyond your own learning and lives to the needs of the people and the world around you. You've been guided to notice that this world needs you and all your gifts and abilities, your creativity and energy. In this process of learning and exploring, I trust that there have been moments of being astonished. Times where you were filled up with wonder and amazement, points at which you had to stop and marvel at the beauty of the lesson or the concept coming at you. I hope that for each of you, there have been experiences that have given you the thrill of being alive. Tell about it. I would say that you have done a wonderful job of telling about things that you have paid attention to and been astonished by over the past 3 years. This has happened in a myriad of ways, like at the Christmas and spring concerts, where you have shared the music that you have mastered, or the musicals where you sang and danced and made a character come alive, or also projects where you expended effort to give back to the community and people around you in some way, or essays you wrote expounding on ideas that stretched your thinking or view of the world. We parents, and your other many supporters, have in our turn been astonished as we have seen your many accomplishments and efforts during these years you've spent at RJC. And I would encourage you to tell about it by continuing to pay attention and be astonished as you move on from this place. Whatever you do in the next chapters of your life, find ways to really notice what is around you, to get excited about what is and what can be, and to share those experiences with the people around you. In the work I do as a school counselor, I often encourage students to take the time to consider and name things they are grateful for, as well as things they are looking forward to. Look back to notice and acknowledge whatever privileges and opportunities for growth and fun we have been given. Look ahead to what's coming down the road, to the learning and exploring and imagining and giving back yet to come. These are the recipe for happiness and hopefulness. You are so fortunate to have spent some time in this place. I hope that during this time of reflecting on leaving it, you are all able to take a moment or more to pay attention to the things you personally are grateful for from this place and the people who make it. And as you proceed to the next chapter and beyond, I hope you carry with you and pay attention to the foundational values that the RJC community has tried to embody, including the importance of being a force for good in the world, for caring and supporting and understanding and building one another up. Qualities that will be in great demand in the context of challenges that will inevitably be part of your next chapters. The big picture challenges like the truth and reconciliation process and climate change, but also everyday challenges like how do I treat my friends and family? What post-secondary courses should I take? What do I say when I disagree with beliefs or opinions expressed by others? The guidance given to you by the teachings of this place and modeled by the amazing adults who have taught and fed and played with and inspired you will certainly help you navigate what lies ahead. We as parents are so grateful that they have been part of your lives to mentor and guide you.
When Sandy and I were asked to give the parental reflection this morning, one of the questions we asked ourselves was who exactly this would be for, who we should direct it towards. So while Sandy has directed her thoughts toward the graduates, I'm going to direct a few thoughts to the parents of the grads as we see our kids head out to explore the next stage of life after high school. For some of us, this is our first child graduating from high school. For some of us, sorry, I guess I wasn't going to embarrass you, but apparently that's too late. For some of it is our last. Whichever it is, and for all the range of emotions it entails, I think what we all have in common are questions about what lies ahead. How will our child find their way in the world? What will they do? Will they be safe? Will they be happy? Will they wash their bedding? Will they miss us? And most importantly, will they be loved as well as we have loved them? Sorry, this was supposed to be Sandy doing this. We had agreed about that earlier. So what is our consolation in all these questions in this moment in time for which we have no answers? I think our consolation is our children themselves, this group of graduates here on the stage, this awesome collection of young adults that we love and cherish and of whom we are so immensely proud. And here I would like to inject another quote from Mary Oliver. There are so many stories more beautiful than answers. These, and I'm referring to this group here on the stage, are the beautiful stories that we have watched unfold over the past 2 decades. These are the stories that we have helped to create. These are the stories that have evolved and grown in time at RJC and through a period of unprecedented interruption globally in their extended families and in their RJC community. These are the sometimes hard, sometimes challenging, but most often joyful, beautiful stories that are blossoming and flourishing and growing into even greater stories. When I think of this generation, these graduates, our children, and who they have become and are continually becoming, I am so humbled and I am so proud. This, I think, is the generation that has outshone ours when it comes to love and acceptance. They are the generation that does not intrinsically question and mistrust differences that the generations before us did, and as some of our own generation still does. They are far more readily and naturally able to embrace and accept one another regardless of race or culture, life choices, faith choices, sexual orientation, economic status, education, accomplishments. For me, this is the generation that fills me with so much hope and a strong belief that they will push the agenda forward towards a better humanity just by being who they are and how they live and how they embrace what many of us think of as different when in reality it is just so very normal. We can take great consolation and comfort in the story of who they are. As parents of this exceptional collection of people, we are proud, and we are anxious and confident and a bit emotional and likely a tiny bit embarrassing in our fussing sentimentality, and yet we don't even care if our kids are embarrassed, and even secretly delight in it a little bit. And for all the unknowns before us and before them, we can take assurance in their ability to create and embrace community beyond RJC, beyond our homes, beyond our churches, or wherever else we find community. And if they have community, wherever that might be, if they are not alone, then they will be fine, as will we. I'm excited for our kids and what the coming years might have in store for them, but it's hard as a parent not to mourn the passing of the last 17 or 18 years. It's hard not to look back with some regret, wondering if we should have done some things differently, and it's hard not to look ahead and sometimes feel anxious and worried about an unknown future. So this is a reminder for us all to not always be looking back and to not always be looking ahead, to stop and focus on this day, on this moment, on these grads, our children, and acknowledge that we are indeed very lucky. Or as Mary Oliver says, sometimes I only need to stand where I am to be blessed. You guys have had quite the year, and you have risen to the challenges it presented and created a story within it that will be both memorable and will be lasting. And we, your parents, are so incredibly proud of you and thankful and blessed. Have an awesome, fun day, because you deserve every minute of it.
I have a few closing comments before we bring our time of worship to an end. Thank you to all of the students who provided leadership in worship this morning. In particular, we appreciate the faith stories prepared by Mason and Faith, Danielle, and Mia. Thanks as well to Sandy and Bob for providing such a thoughtful and reflective meditation. Thank you, Zach, for looking after the microphones and the video. And thanks, Richard and Audrey, for leading our congregational singing. Graduates, when the service is finished, feel free to use the lawn outside to take photos in your gowns. Just a reminder that the graduation exercises will begin at 2 o'clock this afternoon in the RJC Gymnasium. Graduates and parents, please meet in the rehearsal hall by 1:30 p.m. We want to organize ourselves and also take the 2021 class portrait. This time, I'd invite you to please stand for the benediction, after which we will sing our sending song together, Guide My Feet. May God's blessing follow you all as you find new journeys to travel. May you walk safely along the pathways of your dreams. May God's gentle hand guide the decisions you will make and the passions you will follow. May your hearts and lives always reflect God's love and truth, and may hope be a light within you that you carry into each new day. Amen.
Say